I am a lone traveler in ghost-edged caps and crossroads with solitude. Solitude is not Sakuma. Pain is not shared in solitude. With no identity, my culture and the identity was suppressed.
Is the frame okay for you? The frame?
Fear to be rejected by the wide world. I carried my way back, seeking for myself. On the way, thousand immigrants I met reflected back to my
Maybe you
face
should open
and reviewed thousand faces of my foreignism and opened my eyes to embrace myself.
Is that okay for you?
I am enough.
Rita, perfect. Patience.
Hello everyone. I have to start with my presentation. I've started with my great-grandfather's praise name. The title of the praise name is Selala. The language is Sotho language from South Africa. And the second one, it was the piece that I've played. I wrote it for specifically this project, My Thousand Faces of Foreignism. I'll start like this. The title of the project is My Thousand Faces. It has 3 stages of healing. I combined 3 projects because I've realized that I couldn't work on each of this project because they connect to each other. And when I talk about My Thousand Faces of Foreignism, I refer it as my black psychology of love and hate that I enjoyed whilst walking on the valley of the shadow of death. I feared no evil, for thou art as shadows of war. I don't have to go deeper to explain everything. I'll wait for questions later. I know that there will be questions. Okay. This is the 3 aspects of my work. My Thousand Faces of Foreignism is about my 1,000 identity battles, my African rituals of African colonial soldiers and prisoners of war, and my spirituality. The question is, what is My Thousand Faces of Foreignism? It's a long journey of my healing stages from my 1,000 identity battles that I had in my country or in the country where I felt like it's home. But that time I felt like I'm foreign, to the point where I see myself one day in Europe, in Germany. Then there were some questions. It consists of 3 stages. The first one is the foreigning, which is, it has a book. It's the title of a book, my poetry book. Then the second one is Walk of Death, 28101943. It's about the demonstrations and the protests, the annual demonstrations and protests that I hosted in Berlin. And the third stage is My Thousand Faces of Foreignism. This stage is the last one to harmonize all the stages. My Thousand Faces of Foreignism was inspired by my love of humanity through Ubuntu philosophy from South Africa, whereby we see ourselves through others. And one thing that is interesting, my foreignism attracts mysterious people. It's challenging, but at the same time beneficial with life lessons. The first stage is the foreign me. Let me do it this way when we talk about the foreign me. This is the cover of the book that I have published, The Foreign Me. It's a poetry book. It has 32 pieces of poems inside, and the piece that I will play right now is the main title, The Foreign Me. I've published this book 2017 when I was trying to embrace my foreignism. So let me play this piece for you. It's the main title of the book. The foreign me. My great grandfather was a stranger. My grandpa was a native. My grandma was a Bantu. My mother was a Kaffir. Negro, Negro, names imposed by shackles, but an African I am. An identity my forefathers were deprived of. An identity I'm now polluting with the fumes of cigarette. In dope, I'm giving it another face. In ecstasy, a comical image. Stuba gives it an unstable belonging. My borrowed accent contradicts what it represents. My borrowed accent contradicts what it represents. My imitated dress code conceals its. My adopted religion undermines my intellectual prowess. My language deafens my values are valueless. My mind is discriminatory. It repels anything indigenous. It repels anything indigenous while absorbing all that is alien. None can identify with me, even those I'm emulating. Patriotism I reserve for my kind. I look down at my patriots. If I was xenophobic, I could have been my own victim. If I were xenophobic, I could have been my own victim. I pride myself in my slandered inferior education, and education promptly deleting my true history. Ignorance is my custom. I'm dreaming dreams my forefathers cannot interpret. I'm singing praise songs for my dying culture. I'm singing praise songs for my dying culture. I'm branding a heritage I cannot inherit. Knowledge of freedom is embedded in my subconscious, but suppressed by fear. Fear to develop my culture and identity. Fear to be rejected by the world. Fear to be different and still love myself. Fear to be different and still love myself. Yet, with no identity, I remain. Thank you for listening. If you can hear this piece, I was trying to whisper because at that time I was still emotional like crazy. I could just cry when I was performing those pieces. So The Foreign Me is the title of the book. That time I was bleeding internally, but I was not aware that I was bleeding. And visiting knowledge of my past, digging graves, trying to find myself, learn to know myself was not easy, was so difficult. And the outcome was when I embraced my foreignism after 3 years when I was in Berlin. Publishing this book was part of just accepting that, you know what, I am foreign and I need to live with this. And at the same time, I volunteered to be in exile somehow because I was supposed to be where I was born, in my comfort zone, but I decided to be here. But at the same time, I realized that I didn't choose to be in Europe or in Germany. Something, maybe I would say the high force made me just to be there because there was no reason. And the foreign me, it was a spiritual realism that revealed a clear path of unification, seeing myself through all thousand mysterious global citizens. I felt like I was home, even if we are not allowed or the world doesn't embrace us, but really it's our home when we are in Europe. But at least because there were some people who are like me, maybe the bleeding people or the broken souls, I felt home. And that's when I decided to open my arms and begin to embrace myself, embracing my existence by saying I'm enough, with all rights to freedom. The second stage is Walk of Death, 28101943. This is about the demonstrations, the memorials that I've hosted in Berlin, as trying to honor my forefathers or our forefathers who fought during the First World War, even the Second World War, but it was guided by my grandfather's diary. I just want to show everyone this old piece. It doesn't look interesting, just a homemade diary. My grandfather did this himself so that he can jot everything inside. I think he knew that time that if he doesn't do something like this, the white people, they were erasing everything, or they will erase everything, and they might be killed, all of them. So that's how he came up with something like this. I'll answer some questions when I don't have to just volunteer every information. You tell me when you're done. It's okay? Okay. So another thing that I have to show is that I've just chose this inside pages of the diary. Come on, open. It's this one. At that time they were using their G's as X's, but I opened this part because it's two handwritings. The other one on the left-hand side is my grandfather's handwriting. The other one, it was not from my grandfather. I had questions asking about these two different handwritings. Then my grandfather told me that there was a time when he was prosecuted for praying during the time they were captured as prisoners of war. His fellow African soldiers, they knew where he hid this diary, then someone wrote inside the diary. So let me continue with the presentation. Walk of Death was an answer to all the unanswered questions arised. And one of the questions that I asked myself for 3 years is, why am I here? Why I was in Europe? Why I was in Berlin, in Germany? And after 3 years, that's when I remembered I met one sister during my exchange project in 2011 who told me that there was a reason why I'm in Germany, but I didn't take that serious. I was laughing at her somehow. But after 3 years, that's when I realized that I'm invading my grandfather's days when he fought during the Second World War, when he was captured as a prisoner of war. It's not like a mistake why I'm there. I'm in his shoes. So BMT 4379 or Corporal N4379 is my grandfather's number from South Africa, not from when they were captured, but from South Africa. And the CPL, the Corporal N4379, is being used by the archive, the British archive, that have South African information. It was difficult, I would say, for 2 decades to get something that proves that really my grandfather was a prisoner of war, or he fought, because somehow I wanted to verify his diary, because I can't just take everything that he was telling me that was true. I had to do the research. He was captured on the 21st June 1942 in Tobruk, Libya. Then they've taken them to Italy, France, from France to Germany. Then Hitler chased them away, told the French and the Italians that you need to do something with them. I don't have to do anything with I don't have to deal with the Africans that time. Luckily, my grandfather noted most crucial happenings of their captivities. Not everything, it's when they were captured as prisoners of war. That's the most things that he captured. Because I think he thought he won't survive somehow. Maybe someone who's good, or I would say a Samaritan will get the diary and try to publish or whatever, I don't know. But he survived the ordeal, the imposed walk of death, because there was a time where the Germans, they imposed walk of death, which is not well known. Not that I'm criticizing, but they've written so many things about the Jews who have been killed during the Second World War, but about the Africans, nothing has been written. You won't even find anything. If you find something, it's like someone has dipped that to be seen. So that's the painful part. And walk of death happened on the 28th of October 1943. That's the day when they walked from Italy to France, from France to Germany, from Germany back to Italy. So many African soldiers died on the way because they were starving, they were thirsty. The soldiers, they were killing them. That's how it happened. And I would say all the memorials are the continuation of what our forefathers went through. There's sometimes where I feel like I'm still walking in their walk of death when I face some challenges, when I face racism, when I face so many cruelties in Berlin. Then I need to understand that they were walking and they end up dead. Me too, I'm on this. And despite all the great deeds that they have done, their names were erased from historical events or historical records. There was nothing about them. Because I remember at high school, I was studying history. Really, I remember it was just 2 sentences where they were talking about Africans, they participated. They never fought, they participated, but they didn't even say in details or elaborate how was the participation. But if you hear from the horse mouth, even the Nigerians, because I used to watch the videos from the veterans of Nigeria, they are still online, you can check them sometimes. The white people, they thought that they would participate according to what they thought, but it was war. It was just not a playing ground or a soccer field or football field. People, they were dying there. That's when our forefathers, they were placed as cannon foders in front. So that's why most of them, they've died. And I think this is the last of walk of death. I'm trying to decolonize history and rewrite our black history, focusing on the importance of African colonial soldiers and prisoners of wars, and at the same time trying to commemorate all the African colonial soldiers and the prisoners of war. Because one thing that I've realized is our governments, African governments, or the African states, they tell the historical part individually according to who's this person. If I'm in parliament, I think my grandfather was supposed to be everywhere. There were supposed to be streets named after my grandfather. There are so many people, I won't mention their names because they were in parliament, they are ministers, their great-grandfathers, their fathers or their uncles, those who fought. They've even written their names in Freedom Park in South Africa in Pretoria. There is a museum, Freedom Park, where they've trying to commemorate all people who died during the wars, during the liberation struggle in South Africa. But they are not all. I tried, but maybe because I was not in parliament, it was just for nothing. So one thing that I'm trying to do is using symbolical ritual to repatriate their souls as a monumental way of 7 white flags. The monumental 7 white flags is a sign or a symbol of unification, unifying all souls, because really they are one. We don't have to focus much about the borders, the names. That's what they divided us with, those borders and the names and the flags or whatever. But right now with our forefathers, I think it's much better to unify them, to treat them as the same. I don't have to just focus on only my grandfather. And one thing that I would say a little bit I'm happy about is my grandfather was not selfish also. He noted some names of people who were with him. They are so crucial because I don't know why he did that. It's amazing. The numbers, those who maybe he didn't have their numbers, there are just few he mentioned their name and their last names and the address where they came from. So which means you can trace them, or when I publish the book, someone who will read the book will try, oh my God, I've heard that this is my great, 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 something like that. Because I tried even to trace, I was afraid even to talk about the diary, thinking that this is sensitive with the names of the people, but my mentor told me once that it comes from your grandfather who was there during the war, not you. You have the right to publish it without even searching for those people, because sometimes you won't even get them. And he was right. So we are going to the last stage, which is my Thousand Faces of Foreignism. This is the harmonizing stage, and it was during all my silence of my silences when I see myself through Thousand Faces of all foreigners in Berlin. The outcomes of all my silences gave back to the last stage, this one, the Thousand Faces of Foreignism. And again, one reason why I did it this way is I've tried to get some sponsors of funding different institutions. I think they were scared of Walk of Death, the name Walk of Death. I felt like when I combine these stages, I should cover the Walk of Death with the last stage. They should find it inside, not that it will be a title on its own. If maybe they are scared when they go to the website, then that one I don't have to mind about it. But so far, I'll even say it's amazing, because I think I told you, Isa, that I requested for sponsor to come here. They've never responded. But today I found an email. They're telling me send this and this. It's not the whole amount, but it's something. I go, oh, okay. Now you see something, or maybe, I don't know, they've realized that I'm already in Ghana, I don't know. But I'll just say it's better than nothing. And this stage, it's a reflection. It reflected clearly through my camera lenses when I was moving around in Berlin. I'll meet some strangers, or I'll say mysterious people. Those, I'll connect with them, and those who will pose for my camera, I'll do like this to show you just a few of those portraits that I've taken from people that I've met during. Some of them I'll mention where they come from. This is a beautiful lady. I don't mention the name, I'll just mention that she was from Iran. We met during the George Floyd demonstration. It was a huge demonstration in Berlin. So both of us were holding cameras. I climbed on top of, it's like a wall or something. She wanted to come and join me. Then that's when I helped her. Then we were just sitting there listening for speeches. Then that's when I got this angle. Then after that I showed her that, look, this is beautiful, I love this. Then I even told her that the day I'll start using it, I'll let you know, because this is beautiful. Now, right now I don't know nothing what I'm going to do with this, but it's beautiful, and I can send it to you. So I'll just show you a few of them, not all of them. This one is a guy from Gambia, Senegal. He told me that he comes Gambia or Senegal. We met during the Born Free radio. They were interviewing me, and he helped me with doing some videos that time again. And the other one, this one, it's my colleague. He's working with me right now. He's from Afghanistan. He allowed me to take him this image. I remember we were working that day. We just went out for specifically this image. Then I'll skip and I'll go to this one. This guy, I never actually, I attended, come on, what's going on? I attended an event. My friend or the lady known as Jessica Green from UK, she's the one who's holding me when I'm falling apart, especially with this walk of death thing. And she's sponsoring my website since, I think it's the second year she's just paying for this website. So she invited to this event. Oh, what's going on? Oh, okay, okay. Okay. I met this guy, and actually I didn't do anything to talk to him that I'm taking an image of you. The guy was just posing for me. I was just, me too, focusing on him. I was like, oh wow, you look great. You are so handsome. You're so but I was taking images. I don't know how many images of this guy. But at the end, I approached him after I've done that. Look, I've done this and this. He said, no problem. I don't even know his name. I don't even know where he comes from. And maybe let me scroll and get, the interesting part of this one. He said he's a model in Berlin. I met him on the traffic light. I was running, holding my camera. I just said, let me take you a picture. The guy was just smiling at me, and I snapped this picture. I don't even know his name. And I told him what I'm going to do with the image. Luckily, I tell them, but if somehow they can maybe sue me or something because there's nothing in written, it might suit, because I don't know, I would say I've done, this one comes from Guinea. I worked with him once in a certain company for a short space of time. He was too much in this Islamic religion, and he was trying to teach me a lot of things. So I managed to capture this whilst he was praying. Let me stop with the images now, then continue with the last part of the presentation. My camera connected me to the mysterious beings. I think it was amazing because I was not stressful, but the challenges, I'm looking forward to capture 1,000 images. The problem is when I'm doing it, some they are not nice, I don't like them, then it will take time. I don't know, I'll have to make sure that I finish. Then during the stage, that's when I felt my internal bleeding that was inflicted by knowledge of my past and learning to know myself. And those mysterious people, they contributed to my spiritual growth and healing. I think this is the last one. Okay, I think I spoke about this, or maybe I went back. What's going on here? Yeah, I went back. I was supposed to be where? Yeah, I'm done with this one. This is the last part. My conclusion is I'm looking forward to do exhibition in Europe and in Africa. Right now I'm not sure because I'm here in Ghana. I was thinking that I'll have sponsors and bring some materials, everything, but I didn't plan enough, and I didn't want to postpone this opportunity because I knew that if I can postpone it, I'll never come. So it's better to just come and work on what I have for now. Maybe when times goes on with everything, I might come again. And the things that I'll be exhibiting, it will be 7 pages of my grandfather's diary, which is, I name it, Notes from the Mind of War. and this portrays 1,000 pieces, 1,000 images of these mysterious people. I would love if I could see a photographic book with all the images being published and sold so that everyone, of course, luckily maybe they can see their faces or say nice things. And the last part is to publish a third poetry book, The Thousands. And it was supposed to be published last year, so I had problems with my UK publishing company because they wanted me to translate praise names of my great-grandfather, and it was difficult. I couldn't do that. It's impossible. I can't translate them. So I had to terminate the contract. So still, I feel like it suits very well to this project, My Thousand Faces of Foreignism. I think this is the last part where I would say Ngiyabonga. It's a Zulu word to say thank you. Ngiyalebora. It's a Sotho word to say thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matilda. And please, if there is any question, just feel free to ask. Any question?
Yeah, I was curious about the Walk of Death project, and I remember when you first arrived at the residency, sometimes mentioning this idea of bringing them back or bringing the prisoners of war back. So I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to sort of that intention with your being here, and if you've tried to pursue that here, sort of how it's gone so far, or what you think might happen in the future with that idea.
When I was coming, like I said, I thought it would be easy maybe to connect very fast. I actually was supposed to be here for 2 months, which was supposed to be good and enough for me for this project. So due to some circumstances from my website, they said no. Then I said, okay, 1 month. They said, yeah, but at the last days, they minimized to 15 days. So, but I still told myself that I can do something. But at the same time, when I arrived here, I was so scared that really will I manage, because the thing was repatriating their souls. I've designed 7 flags, which is, by now I don't want us to go, I can show you the monument. That one thing that I'll request is you can go to the website and you check the images of the monument that I've done last year. It will be easy. So I was thinking that even here in Ghana, because the reason was why Babena, they chose my project. But at the same time, I was like, wow, it's amazing. They are giving me an opportunity to go to the place where I think Ghana is amazing, and it's an historical, African historical place or state or country where the project that I'm talking about, Walk of Death, there are people who fought during it might be both wars from here, and slavery also, things happened here. So, you know, that's when I felt like, okay, I'm going to the right place. So it's the right place in Africa where I should start to place the monuments of the flags. Because I didn't even go to South Africa. I did all those 3 annual memorials only in Berlin, 2020, 21, and 22 last year. So this year, that's when, okay, it's an African episode, but Ghana came as the first state, which is awesome, which is cool. So the thing was I have 1 flag here with me. During the day I was struggling that maybe I can construct something like a monument on my own. It was difficult, and I was waiting for Babena to maybe give me a go-ahead, but I realized that it's too much and it's late maybe. Then this one, that's the one that I'm looking for to leave it here. Yeah, but we need to ask her because it's her, it's like a present, something like that. It's okay when they...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's just the white flag. All of them, 7 flags They are just white, no color. But we tried to improvise to come up with bullet holes, but we didn't have time. We just made 3 holes at the corner. Even I remember during the monuments in Berlin, there were white people who were criticizing the flags. They were like telling me that they look like the KKK in US. And I was laughing. I said, yes, you are bringing the serious topic that we need to talk about. You are not even feeling ashamed to talk about the KKK. So they backed up. They didn't want to talk about that anymore. So that's the flags that I have designed for unification. That should be, I don't know how many countries in Africa I'll travel. I'll leave one in each state. I don't know if in this, I think I'm left with 7 days. I can do something. I'm not sure really, but I wanted to display that monument. We'll see. I think I've answered your question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for this brief and interesting presentation. Very politically challenging. Yeah, on the flags and the entire project. I think also that one thing that a lot of people are applying did not appear. You don't have to apply for a specific project. Your motivation is just enough to be here. And then as you are here on kind of research project, then you have to tell us exactly maybe organizations or spaces that you are interested in. We could now recommend, because the last time when we spoke about the flag, I've been thinking through it a lot. And then I wanted to mention to you, I think last Thursday we need to talk about your project here. And I wanted to tell you about the ongoing exhibition at the museum. Can I have some water now? Where's your water? I think I'm having it. Yeah. The ongoing exhibition at the Military Museum. Yeah, I was there yesterday again, and I was in that region yesterday. Yeah, so you can visit there and see, because they have like weapons, photographs, like it's a historic museum in a way. There are images of the First World War, Second World War, all those kind of stuff that are there. You may have the chance to speak with the people there. Maybe they have something that could be helpful to your research and also like your project. That's one thing that was in mind. And there was an artist who was also painting all the fallen soldiers. What was the title of the exhibition actually? But there was an artist who was painting some of the soldiers from the Second World War. So last month we went with all the artists in residence to visit there, because we also do studio visits to different artists. So last month I think they went to like more than 4 studios, and this museum was part of it. Yeah, so if you are still interested, you can visit the museum. You can meet also these artists and see what is possible, because I don't think it's really late. It's more of you knowing exactly what you want. And again, with the flag, I think for me, I found it very, very interesting, because I was mentioning to you that our 5th year, the hope is to have the flag of every artist who was in residence. So counting from 2019, so that means we are going to have like flag from every country and flag of every representation. So feminist, trans, queer, LGBT. So like it's a whole project that is for the residency itself, which we are still trying to figure out how we do it, because still we don't own the place, and we are trying to see how we can actually do the project that it will also not like be evicting us from here. Yeah, so we are just contemplating on how to do that. Temporal projects like the flag, you can, if you like even want to print more flag in Ghana, there are even already made flags that are sold on the street, but there are also people who can sew flags for you, like you saw now, I was sewing some flags for some artists and stuff. And then you can also make from when I listened to you the last time, what I was thinking is you can also make use of the railway, where you can install your flags on the railway, because this is a path that is used regularly by people in and out. So that could be a whole exhibition, or how you, maybe let's assume that you've already printed like 10 flags. That could be like your presentation on the railway where these flags could be mounted. So I think more, this is also to all that is more, is that because the residency does not intend to impose any activity on you, you own so much responsibility to ask us what you want, and then we can tell you. So we cannot decide for you like, oh, do it this way, but we can recommend if we know that, okay, this is what you are interested in. So the military museum, I think I would advise that you visit there, even if it is your last day, you just want to go and see and listen, because your project can also happen after the residency. Exactly. So you could take some inspiration from there that could be added to your research project.
I'm still learning anyway.
Not
that everything is clear.
And so the question that I want to ask now is the bullet hole. How was it created?
Like I spoke about Jessica from UK. She came to my place. We're just all over trying to find something. We found something roundy steel. Then we bent it on my stove because these flags, they are like, the material is a little bit plastic. Then we placed it on the heat piece of steel on the flags. Then it was bending the flag, and we removed a little bit. It was not really the way it was supposed to be, but I felt like it's better than nothing. Let's just go, because we didn't have time. We had a couple of hours to just come up with something that time. And I tried my friends to come up with something, but they didn't manage to help me out with this. We used just a stupid round steel.
Okay, so my contribution now to that.
So I think for me, the sound of a bullet hole in the flag sounds like very interesting. And I think it will be much more powerful if it becomes very intentional. You don't have to rush it. I know time is not on our side on this earth. We are all running now. But if you allow it to grow in a way that you are even able to collaborate with someone, even if you have to get, this is just my comment and suggestion, if you have to even take the flags and install them and shoot through them, because there are people who are learning even shooting. There are people who are doing so. You don't necessarily need to go and buy a gun by yourself, but you can also, like, by research, know people who are training people in this field, and create this collaboration or kind of participation with them. That, okay, this is what I'm working on, and this and this and this. So can my flag become a target for your bullets? And you can collect the collection of this process in itself, I think, is powerful.
It's powerful, exactly.
It reminds me of Barbara and Percy leaving the traces, the materials in the mechanic shop over time, history of the space, to collect the oil, to collect the stains, dining table, to collect all the memories of eating culture and the traditions. So this could be, even though the bullet that is not a bullet from World War, but it has an encounter with the bullet. It has a history to the weapons, because we never stop trading weapons.
No.
And we never stop shooting. We never stop killing.
No.
It's still happening. There are a lot of people who are shot by even the police on the street. 2 times, 3 times in the chest. So I think for me that your project is far beyond the World War, and it is still investigating the contemporary things that are happening, like, currently. And the white flag could be political. It could be very political. Thank you.
Or maybe before, I forgot something that was crucial to this project. It's like a clip. It's only 1 minute 30, or let me check. It was like a ritual. Before I can talk about these issues, I had to do an African ritual. I've just played some, but I think they were not so crucial, but this one is very important. Let's see, please. It was a ritual that I did with 2 African ladies before I could start talking about the project or the diary. I was supposed to request them because it's not my things, they are my forefathers' things, the spirit's things. So I need to request that I can use this. And that's when we end up doing the video with those 2 ladies. And there was a baby girl who just cried to be with us and said, okay, you lead the way. So I think it means a lot to me, this one. And we were whispering the names that my grandfather wrote inside the diary of those who were with him during the war.
Any more questions? Okay. If there is no question, then Matilda, thank you very much for this insightful presentation. We really appreciate it. So, thank you very much, everybody.
Remove them. Eric, who's coming? I can remove it or?
Yeah. I think there's only one presentation, right? Yeah. Tomorrow is Perfect and Eric.
Oh.
Precious.
Precious and Eric.
Yeah, so I will present first.
And Austin. Oh yeah, Austin. If you want me to.
Come again.
Do you think you can ask Austin if he wants to present?
Okay, I'll ask you and see.
Okay. No pressure if he doesn't.